We are live. This is an emergency broadcast. Turn the volume up. Tell a friend to tell a friend because what I am about to tell you is going to shake the foundation of women's basketball to its absolute core. The roof is caving in. We have a situation that is so chaotic, so contradictory, and so downright explosive that I honestly didn't believe it when the first memos started crossing my desk this morning. We are looking at a power struggle that has turned into a survival struggle. The headlines are screaming one thing, but the reality is a nightmare scenario for everyone involved. Unrivaled is in trouble. Major trouble. The 3-on-3 league that was supposed to revolutionize the game, the league that was supposed to make the WNBA look like a dinosaur, it is on life support. And now, in a twist that you literally could not write in a Hollywood script, they are begging the WNBA to save them. They want a partnership. They want a lifeline. They want the WNBA shield to protect them from sinking into the abyss of failed sports startups. But wait, stop the tape. Because if that was the whole story, it would just be sad. But it's not just sad. It is insane. Because at the exact same moment that Unrivaled leadership is knocking on the WNBA's door with a tin cup asking for spare change and legitimacy, their face of the franchise, Napheesa Collier, is on national television taking a flamethrower to the WNBA commissioner. You cannot make this up. You have the league president, Alex Bazell, waving the white flag saying, "We are open to the ecosystem." And you have Napheesa Collier standing on the deck of the ship screaming that the WNBA doesn't know how to run a business. How do you negotiate a surrender while you are shooting at the people you are trying to surrender to? It seems Unrivaled is looking for the WNBA to partner with them so the league doesn't sink. But Fee is still getting on camera, blasting Cathy Engelbert, talking about the WNBA needs leadership that knows how to value players. She is saying, "Now that I'm doing this with Unrivaled, I see what a sustainable business looks like." Excuse me? Napheesa, Fee, Queen of the Court, I love your game. But are we looking at the same balance sheet? You are saying Unrivaled is the model of sustainability? Then why is your president begging for a collaboration? Why are the ratings looking shaky? Why are we hearing whispers that the novelty is gone? This is wild, man. This is absolutely wild. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, and hype the video right now because the algorithm does not want this truth out there. Let's get into the receipts. First off, let's look at the tape. Napheesa Collier, unprompted, doubles down on her attack against the WNBA front office. She is not backing down. She is standing on business, even if that business might be crumbling beneath her feet. She was quoted as saying, and listen to the arrogance in this statement, "Being on this side with Unrivaled, I know what it takes to run a sustainable business. So I think if they can't find a model that makes that happen, they need to put people in place who can." Shots fired. That is a direct shot at the commissioner. That is a direct shot at the board of governors. That is telling the owners of the WNBA franchises, you are incompetent. She said, "Our deadline is coming up right now in a couple of days. I think you've just heard a lot of chatter about, what we're asking for is not sustainable for the business. And being on this side with Unrivaled, I know what it takes to run a sustainable business." So I think if they can't find a model that makes that happen, they need to put people in place who can, because we've proven that it is possible. There is a way, and we're thriving in that. We're thriving in that. That is the quote. We are thriving. Are you really? Because if you were thriving, you wouldn't be looking for a bailout. If you were thriving, you wouldn't be asking the WNBA to legitimize your existence. This is the classic pay us what you owe us campaign, reloaded. And look, I am all for player empowerment. Get your money, secure the bag, but you have to read the room. Napheesa is talking about a sustainable business model regarding a league that has existed for 5 minutes, a league that runs for a few weeks in the winter, a league that is 3-on-3. You cannot compare a pop-up shop to a global conglomerate, and that is what the WNBA is becoming. But Collier is sitting there, straight-faced, telling the world that Unrivaled has cracked the code that the WNBA has missed for 28 years. And then she drops the hammer. If they can't find a model, they need to put people in place who can. She is calling for heads to roll. She is calling for Engelbert's job. And while she is doing that, let's look at what is happening on the business side of Unrivaled. Because the rumors are flying, folks. The word on the street, the novelty is gone. That new car smell, it evaporated. Year 2 kicked off on Monday. They had matinee games. Who is watching basketball in the middle of a Monday afternoon? Who is the target demographic there? People who are unemployed, the stands. Let's just say they weren't exactly rocking like the WNBA finals. The article we are looking at says it clearly. The novelty of Unrivaled's inaugural season is gone. It comes with a clear challenge, solidifying the startup 3-on-3 league in an increasingly crowded women's basketball landscape. Crowded. That is the polite word for you are about to get squeezed out. So, as the league looks to survive long-term, the big question persists. Is partnering with the WNBA its best bet? Of course it is. It's their only bet. And here is where the disconnect happens. Here is where the schizophrenia of this situation makes my head spin. You have Collier on ABC saying, "We are the masters of business." And then you have Alex Bazell, the Unrivaled president, sounding a lot more humble, sounding a lot more desperate. He says, "I don't want to speak too much on what's going on behind the scenes, but as I've made it very clear, we're open to grow the ecosystem. Whichever way that looks like for us, there's nothing on the table or off the table." Translate that from PR speak to English. Nothing off the table means, please, we will take anything. He is saying, look, we are willing to work with the WNBA. We will be a feeder system. We will be a partner. We will be a marketing arm. Just don't let us die. This is a man who knows the financials. This is a man who sees the burn rate. He knows how much it costs to pay these players the salaries they are boasting about. And without that WNBA cosign, without that formal partnership, the sponsorship dollars dry up. The TV slots get worse. The attention fades. Bazell is practically on his knees. He told Front Office Sports back in September that they went to the WNBA early. They went hat in hand. They said, let's make this official. And what did the WNBA do? They declined. They said, no, thank you. They slammed the door. Why? Because the WNBA saw this coming. They knew this 3-on-3 thing was a gimmick. They knew that you can't build a sustainable sports empire on a half-court game played in a soundstage in Miami. And now Bazell is trying again. He is pointing to NBA Europe. He is saying, look at that collaboration. We can do that. Bro, NBA Europe is a massive established international market. Unrivaled is a startup in a crowded room. It is not the same thing. And here is the kicker. Here is why the WNBA owners are sitting back in their luxury suites, smoking cigars and laughing at this chaos. Why on earth should the WNBA save you now? Think about it. For the last year, Unrivaled has positioned itself as the anti-WNBA. They have marketed themselves as the league that actually pays players, the league that respects talent. They have used the WNBA as a punching bag to build their brand. They tried to use this league to crush the WNBA's reputation. And now that the ratings are slipping, now that the novelty is gone, now you want to be friends? Hey, sorry I spent the last 12 months trashing your business model and calling your commissioner incompetent on national TV. Can we get a loan? Can we get a collab? It is audacious. It is disrespectful. And it is absolutely hilarious. I am sure the ratings from this opening day were a disaster. I haven't seen the final Nielsen numbers yet, but the buzz wasn't there. Social media was quiet. The engagement was down, and Alex Bazell knows it. That's why he is saying, anything is doable. Anything is possible. He is looking over his shoulder. And do you know what he sees coming? Project B. Oh, we haven't even talked about Project B yet. By this time next year, Project B is launching. This isn't 3-on-3. This is the new traveling 5-on-5 league. This is a direct competitor, a real basketball product. Full court, 5-on-5. And guess who they have? Alyssa Thomas, Jewel Lloyd, the heavy hitters. Unrivaled is getting squeezed from both sides. On one side, you have the WNBA behemoth that refuses to play nice. On the other side, you have Project B coming to steal your talent and your format. Unrivaled is the meat in the sandwich, and they are about to get eaten. Basil says, "We don't believe the future is near." He is trying to downplay the threat. He is trying to act calm, but you can smell the panic. He knows that for Unrivaled to sustain success, they need the WNBA's blessing. They need the WNBA to say, yes, players, go play there in the offseason. We support it. But why would the WNBA do that when Unrivaled is harboring the head of the rebellion? Let's go back to Collier, because this Good Morning America interview is the gift that keeps on giving. She is sitting there, smiling, talking about growing the game. "It's going to be really fun," she says. "Philly, they're talking about it. Girl, they cannot wait." Are they? Is Philly buzzing for Unrivaled, or is Philly buzzing about the Sixers? Is Philly buzzing about the WNBA expansion rumors? She is living in a bubble where Unrivaled is the center of the universe. And then the interviewer asks the million-dollar question. Is there any update on the negotiation process right now? Because remember, the clock is ticking. January 9th, the deadline, the CBA opt-out, the potential lockout, the nuclear winter of women's basketball. And what does Collier say? Not right now. We're at a little bit of a standstill. A standstill. Do you know what standstill means in labor negotiations 3 days before a deadline? It means war. It means nobody is talking. It means the owners have folded their arms and said, try us. Collier says, our timeline is coming up in a couple of days. It's going to expire. And then she pivots back to the Unrivaled propaganda. I think we're just excited to show at Unrivaled that it is possible to pay the players and create a successful business. And that's what we hope to do in the WNBA as well. There it is again, the comparison, the insult. We are showing it's possible. But are you? Let's be real for a second. Let's take off the fan glasses and look at the economics. Unrivaled has huge investors. They are burning cash to pay these salaries. They are operating at a loss to build market share. That is how startups work. That is not a sustainable business model yet. That is a venture capital gamble. The WNBA is a league that has to pay for arenas, travel, security, marketing, infrastructure, G leagues, and operations across 12, soon to be more, cities for months on end. Comparing the economics of a 3-on-3 soundstage tournament to a national professional sports league is intellectual dishonesty, and the owners know it. That is why there is a standstill, because the owners are looking at Collier and saying, if you think it's so easy, go do it. Oh, wait, you are doing it, and your president is begging us for a partnership because you realize it's actually not that easy. The arrogance is breathtaking. We're standing firm in what we believe in, Collier says. We're not going to back down, and we can't take less. We can't take less. Well, you might end up with zero. If January 9th comes and goes and the WNBA owners decide to lock this thing out, or if they decide to play hardball, what happens then? The WNBA circles believe the league is still one CBA away from exclusivity. They know they can't force players to stay home yet. But that is the goal. The late, great David Stern established this league as a summer league. It was meant to be complementary. It was meant to work with overseas play. But now the players want NBA money. They want NBA treatment. But they are attacking the very infrastructure that allows them to exist. Collier says, it would be a disservice to the people who came before us to take less than what we're owed. Who determines what you are owed? The market determines what you are owed. And if the market says Unrivaled is struggling to fill seats on a Monday afternoon, then maybe the market isn't what you think it is. The WNBA owners aren't bending. I'm telling you right now, I have sources, people in the room, flies on the wall, who are telling me the ownership groups are furious. They are tired of being lectured by players who are running a competing business that is failing. Imagine you walk into your boss's office. You tell your boss, you are incompetent. You don't know how to run this company. I started my own company on the side, and it's way better. Also, my company is broke. Can you partner with us? You would get fired. You would get laughed out of the building. That is exactly what Napheesa Collier and Alex Basil are doing. It is a masterclass in how not to negotiate. You cannot hold a gun to the head of the WNBA while asking for a hug. And let's talk about the ecosystem Basil keeps mentioning. As long as you can look at the space in an innovative lens, anything is doable. Innovative lens? Bro, you are talking about survival. He says, we don't believe the future is near regarding the WNBA exclusivity. He thinks they have time. But do they? Project B is coming. The WNBA is expanding. The Pay Us campaign is alienating fans who are tired of hearing about salaries and just want to see basketball. The comments section is already turning. I see it right now. Collier needs to be quiet and play. Unrivaled is boring. Why are they biting the hand that feeds? But then you have the other side. Get your money, fee. Burn it down. The community is fractured. The league is fractured. And the leadership is at war. January 9th is the day of reckoning. If Unrivaled doesn't get that partnership, if the WNBA decides to crush them by ignoring them, or worse, by scheduling directly against them, it's over. And if Collier keeps attacking the commissioner, do you think that makes Cathy Engelbert want to sign a deal? Cathy Engelbert is a killer in the boardroom. You don't get to be the CEO of Deloitte by being soft. She is watching this. She is taking notes, and she is waiting. She knows that Unrivaled needs her more than she needs them. And right now, Napheesa Collier is giving Cathy Engelbert every reason to let Unrivaled wither on the vine. It is a high-stakes game of poker. Collier is all in with a pair of twos trying to bluff a royal flush. We are thriving. Prove it. Show me the profit margins, show me the TV ratings, show me the sold-out crowds on a Tuesday at noon. You can't. And that is why Alex Bazell is sweating. That is why the collaboration talk is ramping up, because deep down, they know the truth. The WNBA is the mothership. You can hate the captain, you can hate the rations, but if you jump off the mothership into the dark ocean of independent sports leagues, you usually drown. We are watching a drowning man scream at the lifeguard. You don't know how to swim, he screams while he sinks. Save me, he whispers as the water goes over his head. That is the state of Unrivaled. That is the state of the WNBA negotiations. And come January 9th, we are going to find out who has the life vest and who is going to be left treading water. The vision is clear. The WNBA holds all the cards, and Unrivaled is playing a dangerous game with no leverage. I want to hear from you. Get down in the comments. Is Napheesa Collier right? Is she a visionary standing up for player rights? Or is she a hypocrite sinking her own lifeboat? Is Unrivaled a sustainable business or a flash in the pan? And will the WNBA save them, or will they let them burn? Let me know what you think. We are watching the clock. The countdown is on. Don't blink, because the explosion is coming.